So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Donny Chain Gang with me, Matt Payne. We're back on for another week. Busy week. 3 chain gangs to come. First of all, tonight's Open Donny Chain Gang to all riders. And tonight we have the one and only Bear, Russ Downing, leading the ride in London in Box Hill. Without further ado, let's talk to Russ. Russ, how are you?
Cough mode, but yeah, I'm fine, mate.
It's no good being in cough mode. That's the last thing we need. You need to be fit, healthy, and ready to race. Well, when you press the go, go, go button, that is. It's a tough route you've picked tonight.
Yeah, well, I do need to be fit, healthy, and ready to go, but I'm actually not, so we'll have to make do for now.
It's going to be a busy night. I think my estimation is about 130 to 140 riders potentially tonight, and that is going to be a really busy night. I think we're well over the 100 mark with a minute and a half still to go, so going to be busy. People are not going to be able to see the front to back. We've got Greg Pillsworth, though, as our red beacon. I'm sure he's going to know the score and hold on to the back of that group. Any tips for any of our riders hitting that hill for the first time?
Yeah, first time, enjoy it. If you've not rode the gang, just ride around yellow or, at a good pace. The second time gets a bit squeezy, good tempo. We try not to lose anybody, but, if that happens, then we try and get them back on. And then, it's a bit of a blast after that. So after you've got up the second time, start your engines and get ready, really.
Well, I think that sums it up very well. We're going to let you dive off. 30 seconds to go, Russ. Hopefully we'll catch up with you, and I promise, honest gov, we're not going to come to you on the big hill.
That sounds like a good idea.
So great to catch up with Russ. Let's dive in to where we're heading. London Loop with Box Hill finish. Essentially what we do is we climb up Box Hill 3 times. Last time's to finish. Dead easy. Out from the pens, half a kilometre into the start point, which is down on the embankment. We follow the embankment and the river round before taking the right-hand turn up Northumberland Avenue into Trafalgar Square, turning left down Whitehall, left over the bridge and under the tunnels, coming out magically in Surrey. When we come out in Surrey, we then get to ride out with the gang away and up on to the top of the climb, and that means we're going to come up Box Hill past Gareth Mason's house and drop all the way back down again to come round. We do that twice, and then on the third time of asking up the climb, we finish at the top. It's going to be about 40.4 kilometres, 40.4k for our riders who are coming to that finishing line, and that means that at 40.4k for those riders, it is going to be a bit of a tough ask if our riders aren't on the ball at that last climb. Now 40.4k to go, 1.6 the warm down, but I'm sure everybody will stay onto the bottom of the hill and collect those swift points. Total elevation today, big climbing day. It is going to be a total climb of 577 metres. Now, Russ is our yellow beacon. He is leading our riders out, and we are going to have Russ in control at the front and the back. It is Greg Pillsworth, Lord Greg Pillsworth himself, Donny Chain Gang regular, who is going to be there. And let's show you exactly why I think he's going to be so busy today. It is pretty straightforward, and that is because, if we use our fantastic Velo Viewer graphic, we climb this 3 times. The circuit is a circuit that is done anti-clockwise. We start off bottom left-hand corner. We make our way along the straight. And our riders at the moment just grouping up out there on circuit. And you can see from my screens the riders just making the way along the embankment side. They then turn up into Trafalgar Square. That's the bottom right-hand corner. And then our riders will head from there through a Whitehall. That's going basically on the right-hand side, up and away from you, the screen, and then heading up on to Box Hill. Box Hill KOM is on the top right-hand side of the plateau before the final climb to the peak, the actual highest point. Now, the summit, the KOM or the QOM, not the highest point, and that is why our riders really need to be paying attention first time up. Then that big blue descent, that descent down back into the tunnels, the low point of the course, kicker up the escalators, and back in and through. 2.5 laps to go. Our riders already out on the ride. Our red beacon already nice and busy. So without further ado, let's dive in with the gang and see just how Greg's getting on, herding everybody into place at the back of the group here, live on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. So riding in at the moment with Greg Pillsworth, I think Rob Copeland just chasing on behind. This is the Red Beacon group, currently sitting about 5 seconds behind our lead pack. For those of you not familiar with the Donny Chain Gang, essentially it's a group ride that ends in a race and is a ramped workout. The group is held together and controlled, pace controlled by the yellow beacon. The phrase is don't poke the bear, don't pass yellow, stick with yellow, don't chase the front, all apply. Really controlled group ride, and everybody benefits. Everybody goes faster this way. Everybody keeps on getting new FTPs, functional threshold power setups. It's also why so many riders love it, and it's one of the reasons why we keep a registration. It's just to make sure that everybody is riding as they should, and everybody misbehaves. Well, we know who they are. It's really straightforward. The gang's starting to come together here, which is what we wanted to see nice and early on. You can see the Red Beacon just chasing onto the back as he goes in and through. Some of our regular characters in here. We've got our man from Chameleon Sports Therapy, that is Dan. He's in the green here, just on the back of the group. I'm sure he's changed to a road bike and it's just not changed on screen. Jimmy Allen, this is our stand-in when the bear is away. Well, Jimmy comes out to play. The Wolf, of course, a regular rider and a ride leader on Zwift. And it looks like Jimmy meaning business. He's gone for an aeroframe and some fast wheels tonight, looking like he's going to want to be in the mix. This is a course that he always does well with. And the team just rolling on. Darryl Tatchell-Waller, well, Darryl, of course, one of our fast men, likely to be up at the front. Quick heads up, if you are watching, there are going to be about 140 riders on tonight in total on the various platforms. It never shows you all of them, and whatever the number says at the bottom of the screen, you can guarantee it's not going to be technically correct because it depends on the different platforms that are on. We know there's about 135 to 140 riders, and it's really straightforward. You can't see more than 100 at a time on Zwift. That is how the system works. And that is how the group get to see what's going on. The two people that everybody can see are Red Beacon, Greg Pillsworth. You can see him on the map on the top of the screen. You can see if we take our drone out as we zoom out, you'll see that Greg has that chevron. If we go over a 1 kilometre distance from him, that becomes a shining pillar of red light, as you can see with our yellow beacon. So yellow beacon Russ just going around that turn, and you can just see the pillar shining up above him. Greg Pillsworth, Greg just holding at the back here, just trying to make sure nobody gets dropped off. We're going up at the moment, so we just come away from the river in London and coming up Northumberland Avenue. We're going to go straight up to Trafalgar Square in front and then take the left-hand turn down to and through Whitehall. We'll pass Downing Street on the right-hand side, and then we'll come into Parliament Square, turn left directly underneath the Big Ben Bell Tower and the Westminster Palace of Westminster, and then turn back over the bridge fairly quickly the other side of it. So it's really simple. This dead easy, really, really easy. Stay with the yellow. Wait until Russ gives the signal, which is go, go, go. It is capital G, small o, capital G, small o, capital G, small o. This is a tough ride tonight, so if you're on for the first time, great to have you with us. If you watch the smart riders, the people who will be in at the kill at the finish, they will all be saving energy as much as possible, just like riding as a pro. It is all about not wasting energy on any part of the road that you don't need to. So even if you are the keenest being in the world, even if you have Mr. Henderson's hand somewhere it shouldn't be, key is not to go off the front, key is to stay with that yellow beacon. We're going to take a little bit of a roll up. Looks like we've got a few more of our regulars in. We're going to work our way up to Russ. Russ in here in the Downing cycling kit on that Pinarello Dogma on the F, and looks like currently wearing a very uncoordinated, disgusting set of blue shoes with a red helmet. That is very entertaining, to put it mildly. So Russ tucked in there and keeping nice and close together, and the front of the group just starting to break up. The keen beans very quickly off the front. Now, some of our regulars on training camps, some of our regulars resting for the World Community Time Trial that is on Thursday, racing for their teams. We do have a few people not on training camps, but enjoying the ride, and maybe just enjoying a little bit of sunshine. And it looks to me like one of them is Michael Clark, one of our regulars. So Michael Clark, a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, currently in Gran Canaria, and quite appropriately watching whilst drinking a Red Bus Ale. So it says he hasn't yet put anything abusive down, but we'll see if that happens after a few more as he makes his way through. So the group at the moment just a little bit fractured. That will all come back together. Always the first few K can be a little bit entertaining. So let's have a little bit of a check through here. We've not sit with our avatar right at the back of the group, but it looks like Thorne in here, Tiff and Tracy Fletcher with us as well. But you look at the people who we know are going to be in that mix. Jimmy Allen rolling at the back of the bunch, getting the most roll he can. Looks like Smithson tucked in here as well. Let's have a little bit of a check. Yeah, Smithson, look at that, gone for the Rovers, gone for the lightweight bike as well. Looking to go with the most efficient setup when it comes to climbing that hill. Just watching our riders coming in and through. They're about to start to drop down. Just see John Wild, I think, just having a power drop out there. Not what you want at this stage of the game. Just doing with Daryl Tashaw-Waller. As we make our way down these escalators, we're going to come in and around the turns in the underground, dropping down. And as you can see, coming in to the tunnels. Now, Zwift has magic tunnels. It's amazing stuff. The Zwift designers using the tunnels as a means to teleport everybody magically. Basically, they cut out the dross and keep in the quality stuff by transporting everybody from London Central quickly out to Box Hill without having to worry about doing all of the rubbish miles on the way through. Now, we're just seeing here at the moment Paul Simonite, one of our real fast riders here, and you can just see he's on a really lightweight setup. If you look at those wheels, they are light Mellenstein lightweights. You only get those by climbing the Alpe d'Huez, and then the roulette wheel at the top will spin, and it may well be that you come up with a set of very nice Mellenstein lightweights. More often than not, you come up with a set of gloves. In fact, the gloves that you get are the ones currently being worn by a certain Mr. Greg Pilsner. So 9 times out of 10 you end up with these gloves. However, you will eventually end up hitting on the lucky streak and getting those Mellenstein lightweights, the lightest climbing wheels on Zwift. Now, one man who knows exactly what kit and what spec to wear, Ben from VeloViewer. I've got to say a massive thank you to VeloViewer. You see the graphic down at the bottom. VeloViewer provide us with our stats. They are where we check out all of the data, the ride, the power, the height, the climbing, and this is all about making sure you know what's coming up. If you're a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, then you'll know that the graphics go out. The link to that fellow viewer page for the course goes out to every single one of our members of the DCG gang, so they don't need to go search it, and that goes out to everybody. Remember, of course, you can get yourself a pro subscription with a fellow viewer, and if you want the best stats in the business, then it is the way to go. As you can see, currently climbing the slopes of Box Hill, and still in sight of the London Eye in the background. The wheel still in sight. The gang nicely up on to the climb, looking pretty Gruppo Compacto as they come up. Just seen Tom Hepson go through. Had Kieran Smith in my sights. A slight road Dubash in here. Terminator 2.0 in with us. Tracy Seeley in the gang as well. And you can just hear lots of people changing gears to make their way up this climb as they just change gear. Looks like Claire Jessup tucked in here as well. Claire riding on that pink Tron bike. Ian from 1080 in with us. Ian, of course, one of the massive supporters of the Donny Chain Gang. The Donny Chain Gang really wouldn't be where it is today without Ian Taylor and 1080. 1080, of course, purveys the finest sunglasses in the world ever.com as far as I'm concerned, and Oakley, not just Oakley stockists, but they are a prime Oakley dealer, one of the top 7 dealers in the country. In fact, as far as most people are concerned, they are the top. They're that famous. They're actually a tourist spot within Norwich itself. You can mail order in. They have the cheapest prices generally, and if you're a member of the DCG gang, of course, you can get looked after even more, which is great to see. Now, just watching, I think Jason Steve's just getting a drop out behind Greg at the moment. He's down at 0.0. What you can see that on the right hand side of your screen. Alistair Cootie just tucked onto the back of the group, and this group is climbing pretty quickly here. I'm seeing some pretty big numbers, 2 5s, 2 6s, seeing some 3s, some 4s, just to stay in. Now, Russ will be holding that pace pretty steady. He's going to have a little bit of a roll up to see where he's at, but looks like even Russ having to just squeeze on those pedals at the moment and just dropping it back down again. Now they're just going to have a little bit of a check of our road. And let's just try and jump onto Murray at the moment. Here we go. So you can just see watching Murray at the moment on the climber. Another one of our new riders on the DCG gang, on the Donny Chain Gang, and great to have Murray in with us. At the moment, our drone cam just having to fight the foliage, but Clover Murray riding strongly, member of the Women's Pro Peloton, and tucked nicely in with the gang. We've said this is a 3 Donny Chain Gang week. It is indeed. We have the open Donny Chain Gang open to everybody on Tuesday and Thursday as usual. And it is one of our weeks for the WOW DCG. The women only Wednesday Donny Chain Gang on tomorrow. And that is going to be out and climbing the various roads around the Beach Island Loop. Mostly drags, few little kickers as well on the way round. And that Women's Only Wednesday, you can join that at the event pages. It's really simple to get in. Just jump onto the Donny Chain Gang webpage, onto the Facebook page, or you can go to buytickets.at/fullspeedevents. And that is where you go direct in to get the links. We register everybody who rides on the Chain Gang. We do ask you to put your details in. We have quite a lot of young riders who are classed as vulnerable people when it comes to a duty of care. So to ensure that we fulfil that duty of care to our riders, to make sure that we can look after everybody, now we do ask you to make sure that you put your proper details in. We have a system that actually will eject people who don't put in full details. It is really important to do that. We aren't known to remove people manually if they abuse the system, if they upset too many people, if they don't obey the ride leader's instructions. So a reminder, please, guys, make sure you get your details in there. That means that you won't get kicked out by the automated system. We do try and manually override it if you know who you are and you just made a mistake. But really critical to make sure, please, guys, make sure you put your details in there. So our helicopter just watching people tracking up the slopes at the moment. Looks like this gang all huddled in and around Russell and Gary Templeman in here. Ben Cokin tucked in around the side. Neil from across Castle looks like he's overcome his initial glitches, and the tech looks like settling down here. Neil just in and around. Another rider who can be in at the finish of the ride. And again, where is he? Guess what? Hovering right on the heels. We've gone around our turns, around the bends. If we take our map out, you can just see we come around the left-hand turn, around that right-hand hairpin. As we go up onto the top, key is for the front group to back off, and for the front of the group to ease right off those pedals, and everybody at the back to squeeze as hard as they can. If you're behind yellow, squeeze. If you're on the front, ease back off those pedals to go over the top. Basically, the moment we go over the crest of a hill, that is when those gaps will open, and that is when we have riders in trouble. Because as you go over the top, what is a meter's gap will very quickly open out and suddenly become a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meter. Once you go onto that descent, it's a screamingly fast descent down. The groups will travel faster than solo riders. If you're a solo rider off the back as we go over the top, you're going to be in trouble. I will absolutely guarantee it, because it doesn't matter how big you are or how fast you are not going to get back on to the group. So it looks like Dan from Chameleon Sports are just paying the weight penalty of that mountain bike at the moment. Greg Pillsworth continues to just hover at the back here, keeping an eye on Dan. Dan's really going to have to squeeze on here to get back into the group. They can't afford to let that group go. You can see on the top right-hand side of the screen that right-hand turn. That is essentially the top of the main rise. We then come around that left-hand bend past the visitor centre through the KOM point. It drops slightly, which will split the group. It then goes into a real steep ascent before the descent down. That steep ascent will test our riders, and when the group goes over the top, if they're squeezing on those pedals hard to get up the steep section, they'll quickly fly down the far side. So I can imagine we're going to see a very quick regroup from our leader, from Russ, at that point. So Super Sprinter Sonia just making her way onto the side here in the black. Sonia from Bolter and Day Street, to one of our real fast finishes, guaranteed to put a sprint in. Now, so we come in towards the line. Good to see we got Stefano in. We have 3 featured weeks next month on the Donny Chain Gang. In March, we have our Velaskin training camp week. We have the Nonnas Milan San Remo week. And we have the Gritty Flanders week. 3 feature weeks. Weeks 1, weeks 3 and weeks 5. Which means if you're a member of the DCG gang, get a bit more of the Grand Tour coffee down my neck, it means that if you're a member of that supporters club, you will find yourself in the draw to be able to win prizes from Velo Skin. And they're going to be featuring the kit you need to go onto the training camp. We've got Nonna's in that middle of week, the best restaurant, the home of the DCG when it comes to eating out, based in Exeter Road in Sheffield. And of course, we also have the Gritty Week. Gritty with some great sustainable sports apparel, and the Gritty price is looking really good. Neil and Caroline Biggers on the Donny Che gang as well. Of course, Neil being my co-host on the Crosscast podcast, the Cyclocross podcast, which we've just completed season 5 of. Scary, half decade podcasting out about cyclocross. Now, in we come. Our beacons just coming through, just sitting with Stefano as Stefano has become up to the Continental Arch. This is the first descent complete. We will then come through 2 more times to finish here. The front group needing to ease off, the back group needing to squeeze on. They need to regroup before we get onto that kicker that finishes it off. And if you remember that profile that we saw on that Velo Viewer profile, really is key. That kick at the end is absolutely nasty. That is going to make things very, very difficult indeed. So Dan from Chameleon Sports Therapy, riding a mountain bike because he sold all his bikes in real life, all his road bikes. Mate, you don't need to change. It's one of our regular riders, Kieran Brown. Actually does his turbo sessions on the mountain bike, so he's in the right position on the bike to train on Zwift. But to stay competitive in the ride on the game, he rides on the road bike. You don't have to match it up. So don't expect that what you'll see in this bunch is a plethora of bikes, of things like Pinarellos. Everybody pimping their bikes with top flight wheels and kit. People don't have that in real life. Nobody's got a Tron bike in real life. Not I know of. I'm sure somebody's going to come up with a picture. But what people do have is that they get their dream setup as they come in and through on the chain gang, and you don't need to ride what you have in real life. You can ride whatever you want. I certainly like to change the bike about just to get the most advantage as we come in and through. Now you can see the beacon at the front just coming up over the top of the climb. You can see how fast that pack is building speed. All of these riders at the back now, if they don't push now, they will be left behind. They will have no choice in this because they will not be able to get on. This is where, if you're in this group at the back, if you don't sprint now, that gap is opening up. You can see the distance has really increased. If we watch the speed now, up at 63 kilometers per hour, we're going to run our way up. This group now starting to be in trouble. Then looks like Coty and Co here, Genther, Kokid, hanging on the tail end of the Comet that is hurtling its way down these slopes. Just in with Russ at the moment, 74 kph. It is absolutely motoring. As you can see, Russ not the fastest rider down here. I mean, remember, Russ weighs as much as a gnat's back leg. There is nothing to the man, and he is still absolutely flying down here. If we have Gareth Masus on former rugby international, well, guess what? He's one of our regular riders. He also lives on this course. He's a lot more than Russ. In fact, I would wager that he's almost twice Russ's body weight. And you can just see the smaller riders just starting to be distanced out of the back of the group. This group not putting on big power, but the pace of that pack, it is moving fast. It is distancing even the yellow beacon here, having to put a massive effort in. The group at the front are not putting on the pressure. This is all to do with aerodynamics, a real lesson of real life aerodynamic gains to be had by riding, by staying low, by sitting in the group, and by saving energy. Absolutely critical. All this front group get a rest as they come down and into the tunnels. Hopefully going to ease off the pressure. Everybody behind, and we are now spread over a long, long way, are going to have to chase like mad. At the moment, we have nearly 1 minute 44. We're going to do a double check, but I suspect it's going to be, in fact, it's 1 minute 50. 1 minute 50 from the front to the back of the ride, mostly due to the split on that descent. So, Russ, our yellow beacon calls for a regroup, please. Ladies and gents, regroup, please. Get the gang back together, as the saying goes. Time to get the pack. So, up at the front here, we should be seeing nobody sitting realistically over around about that 2 watts per kilo, particularly up on the front of that group. Anybody doing so basically is just ripping the group apart. Please, guys, knock the pace off. The aim here is for a regroup, please, ladies and gents. Let's get the group back together. Looks like Greg Pillsworth just trying to get back in. I'm trying to get off these escalator steps as fast as I can. Not sure I'm going to be able to do that. Let's keep going backwards. Here comes the yellow beacon. He's just going into the steps, but we've jumped back in with our red beacon currently 27 seconds down. You can see Brad and Stu Cheeseman at the moment. They are 11 seconds off Terry Harrison, Osman, Saysel, Simonite, Taylor, Jessup, all distance from the lead. Forbes, Max, Sharp, Saxton. In fact, Jimmy Allen just sat on the back, leaving breadcrumbs. So is Richie Woodall here. The gang just really are having to leave a little bit of time. The group is well and truly spread out. Our red beacon is currently chasing hard. He's only on 13 seconds to the Cheeseman brothers on the way through. Don't know whether that's the big cheese and stinky cheese, but I'm probably going to get corrected by the pair of them on the way through. Big and small. It's actually Brad and Stu, but you know, we might call them big and small for now. Maybe I watched too much kids' TV over the years with the family. So we have Stu and Brad Cheeseman just about to get caught by Mr. Pillsworth. Pillsworth working to get in with the gang. And looks like Osman just coming underneath the bridge. Jessup, distance. Taylor, distance. Ozuke, distance. Looks like Taylor off the back. Saysel being distanced here. Simonite is distance. Forbes gone. Looks like Max gone sharp. All these riders working their absolute what's off to try and get back into the group. So it looks like Altaf just having to offer his services to drop back. So let's have a look. Looks like the gang here to 29 seconds. Phil Ozuke, one of our real fast riders, looks like he's just dropping back to give Greg, Brad and Stu a hand. And looks like Claire Jessup currently just on having to give it some big beans to get back on. Richard Samuel looks like a rose. The group at the moment is just like one long dot to dot at the moment in front. You can see a number of people dispirited. Just seen Gary Licence and Craig Genther just leaving some air between them and the people in front, just to give a stepping stone for the back group to get on. The Pillsworth Express, the bus, the gang are pushing on at the moment. I think Phil just having to squeeze. So you can just see now the squeezes on Phil Ozuke, just going to have to chase quite hard here to get into that red beacon group. So Phil at the moment is our last rider on the road, other than Dan, who's off the back. He's told the red beacon to go on. You can just see the work just being put in here now. Phil, you've got to squeeze into that group at the moment because they're going to catch the back of that pack fairly quickly. Stu and Brad Cheeseman, as well as Greg Pillsworth, the beacon group pushing at the moment. So at the moment, just working the way in, and I think Phil now just having to settle with being out of that group. The pack at the very back, there are gaps in front. Greg, if you think you're on, mate, you're not. You're just onto one of the groups that have gone back. The gap is still there. And you can see the yellow beacon some way up the road at the moment. That yellow beacon is a long way in front. The gap to the yellow beacon currently still sitting, I think, at around about that 30-second mark. It's got to come in. So, Stu, time to push, mate. Mr. Woodall is with you. He's going to give you a bit of assistance. He's on his way. Chris Canham's dropped back. Dale Williams, oh, good man. Dale just dropping back to give a hand to and Mr. Booth. Now, D02, this is what the chain gang is all about here. Simon Booth, fast man. Potentially a winner on the course today. Definitely going to be in with a shout. Dale Williams, prolific winner. Breakaway winner in the chain gang. Dropping back. Doing the business here. Coming back to give a hand. Altaf Hussein. He's here. He's dropped back. He's given a hand. Altaf, of course, getting quicker and quicker all the way through when he's riding with the chain gang. And again, another rider, regular rider leader, Neil from the Crosscast. Another of our fast men going back to look after the riders behind and to give that assistance to pull people back on. And this is what the chain gang's all about. It's about working together. You get bigger pace, bigger speed, more riders stay together. Great practice. This is what it's all about. The more that our riders do this, the better they can race, the better they can ride on Zwift, because riding on Zwift, it is knowing how to play the game, how to ride it smart, how not to get dropped at the most inopportune moment, and then how to work with people to get yourselves into position as fast as is physically possible. So time for me to get the Grand Tour coffee on the gear. Looks like Mr. Barker just getting a little bit of a drop out. It's just seen Mr. Watson just jumping in. I think, mate, you may need to get a bit of a boot on there. And just dropping in at the moment, but it looks to me like he's distanced Kieran Smith at the moment. Well, Kieran can get himself just about back on again. He's definitely fast enough. But is Watson going to start booting this? You know, he's a fast rider. He's got to get winding up. The problem is if people drop off the back without telling the red beacon will drop back and then get stuck in no man's land rather than keeping the group together at the back. So if you are going to drop off and sprint, then please, guys, make sure that you're working. You can see if we go to Greg, we lose Raccoon at the back. If we go to Raccoon, we definitely won't be able to see the front. And these riders at the moment now having to squeeze on. Greg Pills with Greg at squeeze. I know Greg will be listening live. Kieran Smith and Raccoon, Smith and Raccoon, both more than capable of pushing the way back in again. They're going off the back for a sprint session. It looks like the next rider potentially who is going to get a bit of a pull from our red beacon is likely to be Claire Jessup. Claire just currently rolling at 2.5 with the gap having opened up. Now Claire's fast rider, but those gaps currently 11 seconds to the bunch. That is going to be difficult stuff to do. So Greg just coming in to pick up Claire as we come around that right hand turn. You can see this climb now just going up on to Northumberland Avenue. The square up ahead, well, that is Trafalgar Square. Our riders are going to be making their way in there. This group working well. Looks like Simon Knight sit well, just about 4 seconds up in front. He's the rider in red. It's actually in the Ineos orange. Raccoon is in the blue of the Squadra, the Pinarello group. Then we've got Booth holding the back of the bunch, and he'll be in that red and white jersey. The riders are just about to come up in towards Trafalgar Square and make their way in and through. You can see the main group taking that turn across to the right of the screen. Our beacon just about to pick up Paul at the back, and then that'll be a couple of riders to help Claire get back onto the group. You can see that yellow beacon group not all that far in front at the moment. That's just making the way out and down Whitehall with the Big Ben Bell Tower just visible in the distance as we come out from Trafalgar Square with the National Art Gallery. There's the red porticos on the front, the red screens on the porticos, and the background down onto Whitehall our riders come. So the gang now down past the Palace of Westminster, and you got Westminster. It'll be off to the right of the riders. You can just see it coming into a shot as we come up over the circus tent and around the side. And we'll be taking that left over Vauxhall Bridge and back down in towards the main turns. So it looks like that bus in danger of being a proper red bus. The red bus, the term used for the Beacon group. And our bus driver tonight, Greg Pillsworth, Greg, with a very posh bus actually tonight. And if you wonder what we're talking about, the ability to find pictures on the of a bus to drive at the back of the peloton, absolutely key. So Greg did an amazing job just bringing the gang together. He's worked really hard at the back as the riders come in and across the bridge here. You can just see London shrouded in a bit of smog. Who wants to go to the big smoke other than to go ride your bike out of it, let's face it. So dropping down the undulations in the road, taking our riders down to this left-hand turn. Then it's going to be a drop down into the subway, into the underground, and going to be heading down the London Underground. Looks like Keyworth are going to be joining the gang here. So Keyworth in with the gang here. So now on the back of the Beacon group here. Paul Simon just hovering in front actually, and that's a really tough place to be. And what we tend to find is the more riders that are in the bus or that are on the bus, the faster the bus moves with the same amount of effort, just like with the rest of Zwift. So just up in front is Simonite. He's pushing on. Looks like Stevie G just having to squeeze on to the group. The group are now coming up. They're going to take this left-hand turn, then in towards the roundabout. First exit that you're allowed to take. It's actually second exit on the map at the top, and then it's going to be a right-hand turn up onto the climb. Now, 3 watts per kilo, the limit set by Russ on the climb. 3 watts per kilo is the numbers that we're looking to see from the gang going up over the top. Let's see how many people can count to 3 and how many people fail. Speaking of 3, it's the magic number for our bus at the moment, with Claire along with Greg tucked in nicely. Joining them, Andy Keyworth. Andy from Hind CC, our 3 musketeers at the back at the moment, and just working the way up on to the climb. In front of them, you'll see the team coming up the hillside. We're on to the second of 3 ascents, 41 minutes in, 22k covered so far, 248 meters of climbing. Remember, it's 577 in total climb to get to the finish line. The finish line at the top of the climb. So the finish line at the top of the climb, and then there is 1.6k of warm down to the blue banner. So here we go, you can just see the thumbs up raining down on our riders. Just keeping an eye on the gang in and around Russ. Looks like Mr. Oldsworth tucked in here, Gary Templeman, Rob Varty in here. Rob, another of our real fast riders. Definitely a man to watch out as we go up onto this climb and go further up through the climb here. Definitely a man to be watched out for. Carl Johnson, man with the sprint, may not be in that lead group, but probably in group 2 at the moment, dependent on who goes for it. Rob Copeland can never be discounted from the front. The director of the Advanced Wellness Centre, Advanced Wellness Centre in Sheffield, part of Sheffield's Hallam. Professor Rob Copeland in action up in the group, and definitely a super quick rider. We've got Chris Pritchard with us. Oh, Chris, everyone's disappeared. That's because your computer system ain't working well. You are not connected nicely to the Zwift servers. When it goes into limp mode, it's not because your legs ain't working. It's because it isn't communicating with Zwift very well. Let's have a little look. So, Pillsworth and Jessup in here. Keyworth just pushing his way across. Looks like Jim Flynn just starting to be distanced. He's got the wheel of Stefano Borelli in front. Borelli, you can just see behind him. Keyworth coming up. Flynn comes up on the other side in front. Then it's going to be Ken Carrigan. Good to have the man himself on here. Well, this man is one man who is permanently excused the bus driver duties at the back of the group, because that's what he does for a living. That would be horrible. We'd not even wear that, mate. So it looks like Watson just squeezing onto the back, going to get onto the wheel of Catlin. Then it's going to be Kokin. Looks like Jamie Harper of True Adventure just on the back of this pack here. Another very quick rider in real life. Smithson, interestingly, and Inslee all sat around Russ at the moment. Finch tucked in here. Brad Cheeseman and Paul Hunsley in here. Owen Davis riding strong. Davis in that almost rasta-coloured kit there, just on the climb. Looks like crease in here. My case, Kieran Swift, this is a man to watch out for. One of our real true fast men. He's got probably the record at the moment with the most wins on the chain gang of anybody. He's been challenged quite a few times, though, by Dale Williams. Williams, though, more suited to the sprinty power courses where you can sprint through. Looks like Forrester in here. John Hind, the legend, is John Hind for the Bolsover gang, tucked in here as well. John knows the regular riders on Zwift from Bolsover. So John Wild in here now. John is part of the team that is a fellow viewer, bringing us the stats for the rider, just making his way up this climb. Took nicely in here. Just having a little bit of a look. I think this is going to be Tiff. Tiff nicely took into the group, a proper addict. She's been kicking the addiction a little bit for riding on the chain gang, but back in nicely into the group at the moment, and riding very, very smoothly. But it's good to see Tiff in real life or at the chain gang. One of our very smiley riders, has to be said, always good. Now, somebody who Tiff knows rather well. Yes, she is related. Sat on the wheel of the rider who we know is absolute class, a world champion, a national champion, the one and only Tracy Fletcher Titch, aka one of the fastest riders you'll ever have the pleasure to ride with, as well as being absolute class on the bike. Great at getting people to ride the bike, so much enthusiasm. It's great to see her in action. And back on the gang, remember this, of course, a 3-chain gang week, because we have the WOW DCG, the women's only, Wednesday, oddly enough, tomorrow on Wednesday. So Rodney tucked in here, just seeing Ollie Saxton riding nicely. He's a man who knows what to do. Tucked in at that 3 watts per kilo mark, as close as you can. Looks slow like Sarah in here as well. Simon Warren rolling at 3 at the moment, the front of the group, just all holding 3 watts per kilo by the look of it. No really silly numbers in there. So just taking a little bit of a look back down the slope here. So Pritchard tucked in at the moment at the back of the group, currently riding that pink Tron bike. You get the Tron bike, the Swift Concept 1 and the Tron as it's known. You get that from riding the equivalent of 50,000 meters in ascent on Zwift. Then you can get yourself a Tron. So smart money always signs up for that the moment that they go on to the game, the moment they sign up. First challenge to sign up for. Get that done first. It's the biggest, it's the hardest, and it is the way to go every single time. So let's get the helicopter up in the air. You just see just hovering up and above that yellow beacon group on the way up the climb. It looks pretty smooth. So coming around the turn, this is the squeeze, this is where it levels off. We head out on to the drone cam. Let's get our drone up. Ours isn't banned, unlike the one that was in the UCI. You can just see this group coming up the back, really needing to squeeze in. And then we'll only see the nearest 100 riders. We're going to try and drop towards the back of this main group. And now you can see riders dropping in. So Phil, squeeze boy, this is time to go, mate. Mr. Catlin, time to squeeze on, big style. Same with Mr. Lonsdale. You need to squeeze now if you're going to stay with the group as they come in and through. So at the moment, Lonsdale going to come up around that turn at the moment. Keith Lonsdale, Steve Catlin, Phil Ozzy, K, Stevie G, Andy Keyworth, Dave Finch, Darren Topless, all needing to push into the back of that group because the gaps have opened. And as you can see at the moment, Phil, probably the last rider who's going to get onto this group. You can see the big pack going through as he comes in over the top. And at the moment, it is snowing. Personal best times up there. This is what we want to see. We want to see it pulling people's times, improving their performances. Phil pushing at the moment as we come along this straight. Remember that profile. It levels effectively as you come in, and then there is this nasty kicker up to the highest point of Box Hill. It drops you off to the other side very quickly. That gap between Phil and that group is going to take some massive clothing down. Same for Stevie G. Stevie, don't ease off yet. You need to get into that group. Time to push going into the climb. Taylor, same thing again. Going to be absolutely critical. Chris needs to squeeze, needs to push. He's got to get on the back of that group before it comes over the top of the climb. If he doesn't do that, then the gap will open and he will be in trouble. He will not get back on one man. Virtually impossible. You've got to be incredibly talented for any single solo rider. One man, one woman, doesn't matter who you are. One rider on their own has to put in a phenomenal effort to go over. You can see the yellow beacon group is only 7 or 8 seconds. But this is where those gaps open up. If we take a little bit of a look back now, OZK was at what was going to be about 8 seconds, and you can just see those gaps open up. If we drop to our beacon, and then go back up again. It looks like the Beacon collecting Stefano, collecting Jim Flynn. It just looks like Ken Kerrigan are likely to see the red Beacon. Claire Jessup in danger of seeing the Beacon as well. Lonsdale going over the top. Catlin and Taylor. Well, we said Taylor needing to push. It's 7 seconds to Ozuke, and even Ozuke at the moment really going to have a problem to get back on again. Bish in front, really having to work hard now at 4 seconds. Clever Murray in a group of 3 riders. Hawkins, Cheeseman and Murray need to move fast now. Clover, you need to show us those pro legs, kiddo. This is where it counts. Same for Brad. Brad, mate, you've got to move fast. Get those legs going to the shade, or you are going to be in big trouble because that gap is opening. Bobby Mason's on his own here. Bobby's got to squeeze into the back of the Lindley group. Lindley's group being distanced a couple of seconds, but that's a big old gap as you come down here. The gap has really opened up. Saxton at the moment has seen the danger. Young Ollie Saxton, one of our real fast riders, he's got to get onto the back of that yellow Beacon group. If he doesn't do that, he's going to be in major trouble. Now, is Russ going to regroup before they go through the tunnels? You can see the pace of that chasing group coming through there. Lindley's group came through like an express train, and Saxton now has got to put in a massive effort to get back on again. We're just dropping back, and Red Beacon's just going to come up over the top. So I think Kerrigan, Jessup, Lonsdale, Catlin not going to see the group again. Taylor, I think, again, it's going to be a big ass 18 seconds to the group. It's going to be about the same at the moment for OZK. It's going to be the same. Bishop, Cheeseman, Clover, Murray and Brad Cheeseman, along with Mick Hawkins. Big ass about to pick up Bobby Mason. Bobby, no slouch at all. Or can Bobby work with these 3 riders straight and bring that gap down? It's opened up already. McDermott now in this chasing group. I think Sonia Izzy Kerry, Neil Kerry in, and their winner on the chain gang giveaway. Smithson's in trouble here, so is Ben Cokin. I suspect they're going to be in major trouble very shortly indeed. If you're not in this group, if you are not on that yellow Beacon, you're going to be in trouble. You can just see Fletcher using that lightweight physique to get up there, kicking out some huge watts per kilos to give us a little bit more sliding room, but staying within that yellow Beacon group. That is what it takes. Smart riding there by Tiff, just to get herself right up into the front of that group. This is the leading group, or what is left of it. We haven't yet heard those 3 magic words, and this is all that's left. They are decimated behind at the moment. So the group just rolling on at the moment. The chain gang getting quicker and quicker. Russ picking that pace up, moving that pace along, bringing that ramp up. Remember, it has before now gone on to a 4.5, 5 watts per kilo before some of the chain gangs. The women's chain gang is always brutal. That is really nasty. That has a habit of ramping up definitely through to 3. Now we've got a new yellow Beacon on the women's chain gang. That's tomorrow in the shape of Alison Kinloch, with Emma being on red Beacon duties in a very busy race week. So Alison Kinloch going to be our yellow Beacon. We'll see if Alison is as mean as Emma is in terms of those kicks of letting that group going and ramping that group up. You can see behind there are feather flags coming in to try and get back into this group. I think that is going to be Pritchard, who's just made the catch there, just going into the group. I think Seeley's about to make contact. I think Darren Topliss just about squeezing on to the back of that group. So just to keep a check. Yep, Darren Topliss it is. So Rodney's just about made it. Oldsworth that needs to push now. Ruth Taylor. Oh, good to have Ruth back. Shows you just how busy the chain gang is. Ruth Taylor on the comeback from the plague. Back in with the gang. Good to have you back, Ruth. And Ruth and one of our regulars through the winter now. Either got to up those numbers to get in to the group. It looks like Tasha Waller just squeezing into the back of that pack. So Ball just about getting into that group. Gale in there. Looks like Smithson in the gang topless in there. You can see there are bodies being left on the road. They're working hard to get into that group. Cooties in here. This is desperate stuff back here. I think Garfoot and Owen Davis know the score. I think they're going to settle in and try and pick up a group. If you are watching live and you're riding, I know lots of people do. Remember, guys, when you get dropped, not if, but when, unless you are a pro or should be, when you get dropped, find a group. Work with that group together. It is so much easier. Find somebody to share that workload. Don't be Billy No Mates on your own. You will not get there. All you'll do is burn a whole load of energy that you can ill afford to lose. And the go has gone. We have got 10k to go to the finish. 10k to go to the finish. The go has happened. This is it. It is going to be tough stuff. Never mind. No from Eltoff. This is it, mate. You've got to get your legs. Come on. Time to let those legs do the talking. It looks like Simon Warren, the man from the 100 Climbs book. We've got 2 climb authors with us today. We've got Jimmy Allen and Simon Warren in with us. Both authors of books about climbs and rides. The go is in gear. This is about being in at the kill. Lots of people making that selection, but who is going to be in here? You can just see it is well and truly under pressure now. The chain gang, we're just riding in with Neil from Gritty. 155 beats a minute, 300 was just kicking up here. Woodall's in that lead pack doing good as well. Seeley, I think, is going to be the rider who's just about to find that the eject button has been pressed here. Just going to try and work our way a little bit further back. So looks like it is indeed Tracy Seeley, the Terminator. Well, it looks like they've found the weak spot at the moment. The Terminator 2.0 in till the go going a little further. Then dropping back there. Got Topless, Shaw, Taylor, Scotland. Well, that's a great group. And Scotland in here as well. In Taylor in here. That looks like Tiff Fletcher in as well. And this group is going to be a cracking group. All these riders know how to work together. And if they work as a pack, don't just leave to do all of that chasing. This could be a really fast, efficient pack. So if you're in the group with Tiff Fletcher, Darren Topless, with Bird, with Johnson, with Seeley, with Shaw, with Sir Roddy, with Ian Taylor of 1080 and more, that is a really great group to be sat in. You've got to get in that group. You've got to be in it to win it now. And 3 more riders distance, Caldwell, Evans and Hudson at the moment. They are on next to the group. Looks like John Hind just being distanced out of the pack here. So Hind in trouble, being distanced, losing contact with that lead group coming up behind him. It's only 4 seconds back to Caldwell, Evans and Hudson. In front is 4 seconds to this group. This is the Yellow Beacon group, and it is well and truly wound up. We're seeing some 5s and 6s. Looks like Jimmy Allen on the front, giving it some big Bs. We're going to try and get there as fast as we can at the moment. Apologies for not getting you right. It looks like Fletcher's in this group as well. Now, looks like a Booth right up there. Jimmy Allen, though, is going to lead them in. He was the man who instigated that attack. Now, this is a really great group. They could go for this if they put the foot down now. This has massive firepower in this little select group that's just started to pop off the front. They've got to work now and they've got to go now. They can't afford to let that gap come back together. Dale Williams, Paul Simonite, Simon Booth, Jimmy Allen, Rob Varty, Craig Genther. Thorpe is coming off across as well. And I think Kieran Smith has made the junction, as has Connolly here. This is a massive group of favourites when it comes to hard riding the chain gang and putting everyone else in trouble. And it looks like Simon Warren forgot to turn the page. He forgot to put the bookmark in for when to stay attentive, because it looks to me like he's in that chasing group just being dropped off there. So the man of 100 climbs, this could be route climb 101. because he has been distanced and he's back into that chasing group. He's got Pendlebury in there. You've got Copeland in that group. You've got the Yellow Beacon in there. There are still some very big names, and that group is not permanently distanced yet. Have they got the squeeze? Can they get back? Is that front group going to put the effort in to keep them back? Remember, every time someone's on the front putting in an effort, they are burning matches to stay at the front. Russ is going to try and get across here. He's not confident that group will make the junction. He just went at 12 watts per kilo across that gap like it wasn't there. Are we going to see him go straight over the top as well and continue onwards? That leading group is working well, but I think that junction is going to be made. Another rider coming across now. Pendlebury gets across the gap here, and it looks like this chasing group has made contact. So that hard kick has come to nothing behind them. You can see everybody joining the back of that pack. That dig by Jimmy Allen. Well, I think it's done a little bit of damage. Let's drop it a little bit further back. Ben from Veloview being spat out of the back very unceremoniously for one of the people who helps Chain Gang Templeman. Woodall say so. Stevie G, Holmes in there, Dubash in there, Bale in there, Runner in there, Wilson, Ellis, Samuel Mantis in there as well. Now, this is a big Group 2 on the road. And again, fast riders in this pack. Not quick enough, not having that kick to stay with the leaders who go out around that right-hand turn, out from the tunnels onto this descent behind them. Anyone in sight? Yep, there's another chasing group coming, and this is that Fletcher, Forrester, Gale group at the moment. It's also got Finn Donahoe in there. Then it's going to be back to Langmead. Then it's back to the Ball Cannon and Co group. Then back to the top list group at the top of the climb, but you could just see riders split all the way in and through. Big chasing pack trying to close down the Yellow Beacon group, but this is going to be a massive ask to get back in and across here. So the leaders out from the tunnels, taking the left-hand turn, going to be coming into the roundabout. This pace is frenetic at the moment. It is absolutely brutal. We've seen 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s coming in. Not too many red numbers as people hit those 8s as they come through. And this is going to be all about who is going to push on now. Simon Warren, after initially falling asleep with the book open, has managed to speed read his way back into that group. Can he get in with the fast boys up at the front? It's going to be hard stuff because Dale Williams has gone early. This might be the way he thinks he's going to break the big climbers in the group. He's got serious firepower. How is this going to work out for him? Well, I think that was very speculative attack. Williams quickly off there. Just kidding. Let's have a little look at Isaac Oliver just coming in very quickly up onto his heels. And look who is with him. Thorpe. Now, Thorpe didn't win a chain game for ages. Didn't do it. Then all of a sudden he gets that win. And guess what? He does it again and again. And now the confidence is there. The form is there. He's sitting in man 2. John Wild in 3. Booth in 4. Smith moving up in at 2-5. He's got Lindley with him as well. This is going to be very close indeed. Now you can see Thorpe is pushing some massive numbers. 7.4. He's looking to break the elastic, break that drag. 6 meters is the optimum to stay within the drag. Now Oliver's got the gap, but coming across, it looks to me like Kieran Smith is the rider who's having to bridge here. This is Smith. Behind him is Lindley. Lindley has got the drag from Smith. Smith just about getting the drag from the group in front. Varty got the drag from Lindley, but behind then it is Smith, and now Varty needs to kick. He's got to get in here. I think Russ is having dodgy post plague legs as they've just let go. So our leader, Thorpe, at the front, taking the head of a train of 5 riders now. Wild in second, Oliver in third, Smith in fourth, Lindley in fifth. It's Varty in sixth with a gap now of 4 seconds from Smithson to the riders in front. Behind him, it's still a long train here. We've got Booth in here. Remember all these names that we were talking about. sitting, helping the Yellow Beacon sitting around the back now. Craig Genther just getting a bit of a toe, I think, off down in there to get him in touch with this group as they come in towards the first of those turns. This group round that turn, Lindley. Well, we're going to watch back up from Lindley. Lindley is just about holding these wheels. Now comes that chasing group. And you can see the pack around with the Yellow Beacon round that turn. In front, well, it is 4 riders with him. Leading them out is Thorpe on the front. So 5 riders in the hunt at the moment for the win. They came clear on those lower slopes and now have what is an 11-second gap. Your winner today is going to come from these riders. They're going to go into that tight right-hand turn very shortly indeed. When they do so, they will have that long kick up to the final right 90-degree turn. Thorpe still setting the pace. Kieran Smith just squeezing his way up on the wheel of Wild. And Thorpe's incessant pressure at the moment is really making everybody else just focus on hanging on to those wheels at the moment. Young Isaac Oliver and young Tom Lindley. Oliver younger than Lindley by a few years, but Tom still no grey whiskers on him. He's currently in that leading group. This is going to be group number, check, 2 on the road, and the red helmet of Russ down in the Yellow Beacon in there, Booth in there. It's like Varty just about holding on. Then it's going to be Nathan on a good ride here. He's got that feather flag in, 10% off his away. He's just in front of Simon Knight. Then it's Jimmy Allen with that speculative attack, who is now being distanced. He's got Bundy, Pendlebury and co chasing him. Rob Copeland a little bit further down. Copeland in front of Ben from Bellevue, in front of Neil from the Crosscast. Looks like Rob Taylor in the mix as well. Dale Williams wanted to push. Not sure anybody's going to do that for you, mate. Not when you give them such a hard time on the sprints. So working our way through here, this group now all up onto the close. Wilson in there as well, and Donahoe in there. That leading group, though, just about holding together. We're going to take a very fast run up to the front if we can. So it's Thorpe and Smith, the 2 in the front. What has happened in this front group? Whilst we're just taking a check, it looks like the pressure being put on by Smith and Thorpe has started to pay off, with John Wild being distanced, then Lindley and Oliver as a duo behind. Now Thorpe goes again. Coming into this right turn, we've got a sharp right-hand turn coming up. Here they go. They've got literally a matter of a few 100 metres to the top of Box Hill. Thorpe has the pace. Has he done enough damage to Kieran Smith on the climb to eliminate Smith's kick? Smith has a phenomenal sprint in the black with that flat cap, in the grey and blue camo with the orange. That's Thorpe. This is where it's going to get interesting, taking that turn. Thorpe still leading this out. Kieran Smith is biding his time behind him. This is going to get really close between the 2 riders. Now Kieran Smith starts to kick on. Thorpe's got a kick. He puts in a 10. He's responded with a 9.8. Now Kieran Smith goes. Kieran's got the kick on it. He's going to come in to the finish here. It's going to be Kieran Smith who leads through the line. Thorpe takes second place. Wild is going to come in for third. They've got the gap. It's going to be a sprint between Lindley and Oliver. So it's a third for Wild. This is going to be Oliver and Lindley. Is Lindley going to catch him napping? He could well do that. He's come over the top, so it's Lindley who's going to get this. He takes it from Oliver. That's your 4th and 5th places. 6th place at the moment is Booth. He's got a slight gap here, but he's got Russ and Genther and Varty behind. And now Genther puts in the afterburners. Whoa, that's so tight. I think he left that too late. That's going to go back to a photo finish. Robbo goes in, so Russ through the top. Darrell in, Booth is in, Smithson comes in. Next up is Nathan from Fellow Bands, followed by Simon Knight. Then Jimmy Allen is going to be on next, ready through. He's got 6 seconds on Ben from Fellowview. What a finish between Thorpe and Smith. Then it's Ben from Fellowview being followed by Bundy, who's putting a massive kick here to get himself clear. Behind him you can just see it is Osmond, then Bridgewood. then Dalgleish and Pendlebury. Warren comes up and through the line. Then it's going to be Copeland, who has got about 10 seconds. Wow, look at that. It's 10 seconds to make up on Warren. 3 seconds behind him. You can just see him going through. Copeland goes underneath. Next, it's going to be, Smith is going to get that. Then Neil from the crosscast, followed by West. Then we're going to see, this is going to be Rob Taylor. He's being chased by a runner. But I don't think Simon, a.k.a. Sean, is going to have the power, whatever name he decides to use today, or we call him. Next, it's going to be Mantis. He's got Dale Williams. This is where you see exactly why nobody wants to bring Williams to the line, because Williams has a massive kick, even after putting himself well in the red. As they came in and over the top. He takes that from Mantis. Then it's going to be Conley who's going to come through. He's just ahead of Martin. Then Wilson. Then it's going to be Sharp just coming through in the grey. Ian Bale will come through from Bolsover just behind his 7 seconds on Woodall. Woodall's got Ellis on his wheels. Woodall's got a kick. Ellis is not going to challenge here. So it's going to be a Woodall who's going to get this. Then it's Ellis followed by Chris Gale and Griffin coming through. Templeman is in the hunt here. Who's it going to be? He gets rolled on the line by Holmes. So it's Holmes, Templeman and G. And then it's going to be Dubash going through as well. Jess Saysel makes his way through the line, being chased by Steve Wilson. Richard Samuel goes through, being followed then by Forrester. Rab coming through. So Rab's going to be on next. Ryder making his way to the line, pushing on. Rab, full details this time, please, sir. Vin Donahoe on his way to the line. And then it is going to be an awesome ride here, because this is going to be Tracy Fletcher showing why she is absolutely a world class. Comes through ahead of Forbes and Keyworth. Keyworth doing a great ride here from Hind CC. Next up, this is one of the riders who's just off the back. It is going to be Small, a.k.a. Stu Cheeseman. Stu putting in a nice kick in to finish as well. Then it's going to be Steve Hilbert. Steve Hilbert, you need to be racing this season. You're absolutely flying. Now, Ollie Saxton. He's one of our real fast youngsters. What are you doing right down that hill? Saxton normally can be relied on to be right at the front, just mixing it up a little bit further down with Ball, Hyde, Langmead and Hudson. Then it's going to be Fletcher. And I think Pearson is going to roll them on the way through. Fletcher's putting in a response here. Has she got enough to get him on the line? Oh, it's so close, but Tiff gets that. It's a Fletcher 1-2 at the moment. Tracy from Tiff, and Tiff, in fact, putting in the fastest climb by 2 seconds. So it looks like Tracy taking up the route overall. Tiff taking the fastest time on the climb. So shared honours in the Fletcher household. Next up now, Caldwell and the Terminator. We know Tracy has a kick. Well, Tracy Seeley, a true addict. We talked about Tiff Fletcher being an addict. If you ever want to know, if you go on at 3 o'clock in the morning, Tracy Seeley going to be in and around. He goes through in front, just in front of Caldwell and Scotland. Great to see Andy in here. And riding again. This will be Sir Rodney being followed then by Chris Jones. Jones on a good ride again. Good to see Chris back once again on the chain gang, being followed by Canham. We're probably going to let Russ have a evening off without a conversation. We've got a few people to get in, but we'll see how we're doing time-wise on the way through. Chris Canham going to be our next rider to the line. Don't let Russ off the hook. We're talking at the end of that one. He might have some runs left. So Cannon comes through ahead. Carl Johnson with that sprint, saving that feather flag for the end. And just rolling it out onto that slight downhill. He's going to come through ahead of the third. So fourth of our female riders. It was Tracy Tiff, then Tracy next. Ruth taking fourth place in the women's competition on that climb. A new personal best as well. 8:53. Well done, Ruth. That's a great comeback. Remember, lots of our riders on the comeback on the way through. So, Cannon goes through. Then it is Ian Taylor. Great to have Ian on the ride. One of the real heroes of the Donny Chain Gang. Brilliant to see him in and back on the Chain Gang. And looking forward to catching up with him in real life hopefully fairly soon. Brad Cheeseman goes through just ahead of John Garford for the Royal Navy Marines, ahead of Bird, then Alistair Cutie, Chris Pritchard, then it's Davison. Super Sprint Sonia is going to be the fifth of our female riders through, then it's going to be Owen Davis going in. He comes through. Apologies if we missed you on the way through. He's pretty busy in the groups coming through. May well get to Russ, in fact, after Bobby Mason, but we'll just have to see how those time gaps go into the last part of the time. So next in is going to be Wilson. He goes in over the line ahead of Dick Hawkins. Then going to be a little bit of a gap back to Gary Oldsworth. Oldsworth and Paul Hunsley pretty much together, I think, as they come through. So Oldsworth and Hunsley. Hunsley sat on the back on that Tron bike in the red. Oldsworth in the pink and grey. These two riders come past the visitor centre at the top of Box Hill, over the top of the National Trust symbol. Taking that left-hand turn, that gantry is going to come. Nothing left for Chris Pritchard. He's absolutely wasted. Good. That's what we like to see. That's a proper chain gang where you're struggling to get off the bike at the end of it. So it looks like it's going to be Oldsworth and Hunsley pushing there, but I think Oldsworth just getting it. Hunsley needs to kick just a little bit sooner. Next up is going to be one of our real regulars, Keith Hayward, regular on the Donny chain gang, well colour coordinated. May well take the Nick Dorsey prize for colour coordination today. Socks, kit, as well as bike, all nicely coordinated as he comes in towards line. Keith, of course, regular on the chain gang. Got to say a massive thanks to everybody who rides regularly, as well as, of course, to everybody who's part of the DCG gang, Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club. And that is key to keeping the show on the road. You can join for March. Remember, this is the last week of February. Bobby Mason in through the line, another of our regular riders, and somebody who's improving a week on that. Pinarello on the MV wheels as he comes in and through. Then it's going to be Catlin, followed by Rose Taylor, and then Jessup in that order. So Catlin's going to be our next rider. Just coming into the visitor centre, this is where you can just see coming around that turn, that slight downhill. It's -2%, just rolls the speed up nicely when you're coming into line. It always feels good when you come around that corner. You've been pushing hard on the pedals and you know you're up and over the worst of it. So it's Catlin now making his way into the finish of the Donny Chain Gang. Just have the warm down to do once he's gone in and underneath that archway. Rose on the climb is a little bit further back, which means we may well try just to get in touch with the bear. Russ hopefully managed to get his breath back, not already tucked into the honey. We'll see if he's going to be on the end of the line. I think we can speak to Russ now. Russ, how are the legs, how are the lungs? That was fearsome stuff. 3 climbs of Box Hill.
Yep, a lot better, mate. Bear with me a minute. I'm just going to cough a lung up and turn my TV off.
Always a bonus not having multiple things bouncing about. So we're in the last week of February. It's a real, most people have been riding regularly. We've got Rose just coming through, James Rose on his way towards the line. Another of our regulars coming through. People are improving all the time, and they need to. 3 times up Box Hill is tough, but there's a lot of kickers as well. The escalators are never easy. And, of course, you've got all those little kicks through and up Northumberland Avenue and on that run down past the river, which definitely take the toll.
Yeah, just obviously rolled over the event, done 44k and 606 meters of climbing, so it's not flat.
It's not even close, is it?
It's a good little ride.
It is indeed. It is, and it's a very busy week for the last week of the month. We've got the WOW DCG tomorrow with a new yellow beacon in the shape of Alison Kinlock doing the yellow beacon duties. If you could say one tip, send one tip to Alison, who is yellow beacon of the women's ride tomorrow, what would it be?
Just control it, No, I don't mean in, backwards and forwards. Just, you ride at the speed that you want to dictate. Don't panic, and if people ride off, they ride off, and it's their fault. So you are, as they say, for that night, for one night only, Matthew, you are the boss. So people have to listen.
Well, let's hope it's not going to be one night only. I think Alison, a podium rider, a medalist across, a regular rider, and we're going to see if Claire Jessup, who's just come through the line, great ride there by Claire, to come up and through the finish. There's the ride. Whether we're going to see Alison in action in the future, hopefully going to do a stunning job and enjoy it, because it is very enjoyable, isn't it? Because the community is formed of people who are nice people. We very rarely get people who don't want to play the game. They're there because they want to get the benefits of the chain gang and ride it as it's written.
Yeah, no, I think we even, we're how many months in now? We got some new riders tonight. Everyone behaved, so it's great. I think we had a great vibe there tonight. Poor Dan. I'm not quite sure why he chose to ride a mountain bike on the hilliest route we've had for a while. But that's Dan. I'm sure we can give him some ribbon, and I better not go and see him for a massage, because he'll absolutely rip me to pieces. But
I think he will. I'm just watching Ken Kerrigan on his way up here now. Ken, a man who's always excused the beacon duties of bus driver because he does it for a living. He's just in front of Stefano, and Stefano, of course, sponsoring the middle. He's supporting the chain gang riders, the members of the DCG gang, in the middle week of March, and going to be really interesting to see what those prices are. You and I know where our routes are going next month, and I gotta say, really looking forward to having the 3 sponsors. We've got week 1 of the month is going to be Velaskin Travel Week. It's the training camp week. So we've got Velaskin on week 1. On week number 3, we've got Nonnas, so the best food in the business. And then on week 5, Sustainable Kit, which is going to be the Flanders week, after 2 weeks after the Nonnas Milan San Remo week. It's a real sort of classics month, isn't it?
Yeah, that kicks off at the weekend. Het Nieuwsblad, Het Vault for the older people, and that kicks off. So why not have a packed February? February, March. I should know,
Well, there might be something memorable happening also on the way through the middle of March. For those people who don't know, there is a little baby bear brewing at the moment, and we will hopefully see the appearance of the bear very shortly. A mini bear very shortly coming out of the cave and saying hi to everybody at some point. It would be everyone looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to have Jimmy Allen's legs in top fettle at that point, because he's going to be stunning in for Russ for a little while. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we're at the midwives today. It's ready, mate. It's low, it's engaged. So any time now. I've still got a week and a half to go for the due date, but Lisa's had enough now, mate. She just wants it out, and I've probably had enough as well. I might have a little break from the chain.
I know. Well, it's nearly been 2 years, I think, since it's certainly 2 years since we started doing the testing, and we did the very early tests of the chain gang and some of the broadcast and the Downing Cycling Club runs, which were the forerunner, with guests on there as well. And of course, we quickly evolved to having people like Greg Pillsworth doing our Red Beacon. So the Red Beacon's all volunteers, of course, all jumping in and helping everyone. We've got to say a massive thank you. I thought Greg did an amazing job. Not the easiest course to work on. And Greg bringing Jim up and through the line. Our last rider's in and over the line, and now on his big descent down and on his way out.
Yeah, he didn't have it nice there. He was sticking with Dan, and Dan called him to go back forward, so he went back forward. No man's land on his own, so he's pressing on. We got people back to him, and like I said, that was DCG all over there. People coming back. The line got strung out. It went steadier, and they had a really hard workout to come back. And then he looked after people up the final climb. So chapeau, Lord Greg.
Indeed, Lord Greg, he is indeed. Well, Russ, we're going to let you get off. Hopefully, we'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you, and hopefully, we won't see you on Thursday. So we'll be thinking of you if you don't appear on the chain gang on Thursday. I'm sure there'll be a fairly obvious reason. Time ticking away. Make sure you catch up with Russ on social media. Make sure you catch up with the Donny Chain Gang as well. Russ, we'll speak to you soon, hopefully.
Cheers, guys, and great gang. Have a good one.
So we are going to leave Greg on his descent there. We're going to let Russ do his final press. Hope all those bags are packed, mate. You're going to love being a dad. And looking forward to seeing everybody on our next Chain Gang. Remember, this is a 3 Chain Gang week. So tomorrow we have the WOW DCG, the women's only Wednesday. Go to Beach Island. If you've not been on it, if you're a female rider, dive on. It is great fun. It is really well controlled, smooth, progressive climb up through the numbers. Going to get you FTPs, going to improve. And our riders, a great way to get into the Chain Gang. Then on Thursday, we are moving on again on the Chain Gang, and we are going to be making our way out and around the final Chain Gang of the week. Well, that is going to be coming to you. And it's coming from London once again. Now, we are using a route that was used on the WOW DCG for the first time, actually recently. That's on the classic route. It's a really short course as well. Maybe Russ thinks he might need to get off somewhere in a hurry because it's only 40k in total. And that means that our riders will be hitting the line about 38.1k. Really fast, really quick ramp on Thursday. Back in London for the classic. Watopia tomorrow. Our Yellow Beacon tomorrow, Alison Gillett. The red is going to be Emma, and then we're going to move on Thursday. Russ should be our Yellow Beacon. If he's not, it'll be Jimmy Allen, and of course it is going to be Ian Bale, who's on Red Beacon, which is who you saw on the feed tonight. Don't forget, if you remember the DCG gang, last week of February means time to renew if you haven't done already for March to keep on getting those fantastic discounts from our sponsors below. 25% off OTE. I eat that many energy bars to make that pay off. Let's face it. Never mind. And I don't ride it all the time, not as much as a lot of our riders do. Got Velaskin in there, Halo, and of course got great giveaways, options of winning things from Velaskin, from Nonnas, and from the amazing Gritty with their sustainable sports apparel. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Make sure you give me a follow. It's Matt Fix the Paint on social media, on Zwift, on Strava, and pretty much anything else it actually makes it to. Don't forget, of course, we'll be back tomorrow on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel with the WOW DCG, all part of the Donny Chain Gang.